because I know y'all want to get home, but appreciate Mr. Kurt letting me come here. I've been shadowing him. Mr. Bryson, I've got to sit in on some of y'all's classes. Is just excellent. You know, and I'd like to say this because I get into a lot of high schools around the county. Being at the alternative school, I get to go visit a lot of high schools, and I'm in a lot of different high schools in this system. And y'all have a really good thing going here. I mean, the culture here is very, very good. It's not like that in every school you walk into. And you can feel that. If you've been in education long enough, you can walk in a school building within an hour, you can tell, you know, if people are motivated, everything's going, it's a good culture, or not. And some of them are really driven, especially right now. So, and y'all do a great job with that. These kids that we were talking about earlier, the ones that you're mentoring, I know all of them, if not, you know, most of them come to us. And, you know, I tell people all the time, I teach at the alternative school, and every time I've been trying to get around to the faculty, because this is one of the things I want to do right now is just make people aware of what's going on, where we want to go with the alternative school to help these kids. But when I tell people I work there, they're like, "Oh man, you know that must be terrible." And it's not terrible, but I've always been able to relate with that type of kid. And it's the mentors, you know, the mentor program you have here with the kids. That's important. And these kids need it. Those kids need it that I see every day. They don't have it at home, most of them. And a lot of the kids that we get are good kids. They just messed up one time, and that's good. But then we also have the Jordans of the world we talked about earlier. Oh, hey man, how's it going? Back again, back again, back again, back again. And that's what we're trying. And I've never really looked at it from an administrative point of how to try to correct that, the endless cycle of this kid coming back and back and back and back. But that's what's got to happen. That's where the alternative schools got to go. And we've done a lot with their parents, getting their parents involved, trying to, with us at the alternative school, because we felt like that's one good way to get these kids motivated, to get their parents in. We get to see their parents every day because their parents have to bring them. So I've got their attention, and Coach Dean's great about how I've learned a lot from him about how to deal with parents and how to make them feel welcome and make them feel like their opinion matters. So many times, when I started teaching at Logansport for 2 years and I was at Susanmore for 5, I've been at the alternative school for the past 7. This is my 7th year there. So many times I remember that, and it's not something I'm proud of. I'm actually ashamed of it. The parents would come in, and because they looked a certain way, or they smelled a certain way, or they did this or did that, I thought I was better than them, or I looked down on them. You know, I didn't see them as an equal. They can tell. You know, parents know that. Same way kids. You know, spiritually everything. You know, from the ground up. So and now to talk to just a little bit of when a kid is sent to the alternative school. If a kid comes over there, you have a kid come over there for 3 days, you know, he's going to be writing for a day and a half of that at least, because everybody that comes in, I don't care if you're there for a semester or 3 weeks or 3 days, you're going to write the same writing assessment, and if they get on it really hard, a day and a half. It goes over 2 days, we stop counting days, you know, until they get that finished. So if you got a kid coming for 3 days, realize that, and you can send 3 days worth of work, you know, that's fine. Do that. If they're assigned for 10 days or more or something like that, really all we need is a starting point in the book. Because the way instruction is going on over there is a lot different from what's going on here. Because they're not in groups, they're not doing all this, you know, all these different teaching strategies. We don't do that. I've got in one class at the alternative school, I have a 2nd grader, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. They're all going in the same subject at different grade levels. And I'm pretty much like this all day long with them. You know, giving them one-on-one instruction. So, you know, all I need, and if you're skipping around the book, that's fine. My email's up all the time. Mr. Bryson can tell you, he emails me back. We email back and forth all the time. And if he asks you to give him, send work for a kid, just send it to my email. You can do that. Or tell him, hey, I emailed it to Coach Cardwell, dcardwell, bluntboe.net. And you can just tell me the chapters. You can go 7, 12, 9, and 3. That's give me the sequence or something. Because I won't get that kid started in the book because we're doing individual. That's all he's going to do. He's sitting in a cubicle. He or she is sitting in a cubicle. And that's all they're going to do all day is that. So, anyway, that'll tell you a little bit about that. they're going to be riding if they're there for a long time. And with their grades coming back, then Mr. Bryson was talking about this earlier. If a kid, you know, the time that the kid was out, whether it's 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever, the whole semester, we're going to send you a grade. You know, don't expect to send us a test. I mean, people try to send us tests, get us to let them take it, and we fax it back. It's just easier to say, hey, okay, this kid had a 76 for the time he was with us. It's a whole semester, we'll put a 76 in there if it's, you know, however you want to do it. But Mr. Bryson was talking about just, you know, give him a 76 on all that work that he missed during that time. But let's face it, I mean, grades aren't, you know, the main objective of these kids are trying to correct most of the time. It's their behavior, and you got to correct their behavior before you can correct, or before they can start being successful. And that's the thing that's the part that I'm trying to focus on more now over there than anything. And trying to get, you know, here's where we're going with it. I want to be able to reintroduce that kid. If a kid's over there with us for a whole semester, I mean, he comes back in here. A lot of times kids come to us from from another state, and they go right to the alternative school. And then they're, you know, coming in here after a semester or whatever. If a kid's over, we have to try to find a way to help reintroduce that kid and to get a mentor to him or her. So I'd like every school in the county, I would like to have, even the elementary school, because we've had 2 second graders and a first grader this year already. And there's one over there now. And they're, you know, and sometimes it would break your heart because, you know, it's not that kid. And he doesn't have a behavior problem. He doesn't have any paperwork with him. You know, if he did, he'd be at a different alternative school. It doesn't say shit to parents, and, you know, but all you can do is try to educate that parent, try to help them too. A lot of times they don't have a clue, you know, of how to do anything. So you got to try to educate them too. But that's where we're headed with it. Hopefully we can get a female and a male teacher from every school to kind of be the liaison between the A school and their home school. Kind of reintroduce them back here, and not just stop there, but keep going and get our counselors involved more too, and just start everybody kind of getting behind that kid and getting turned around. And if we don't, it's like I've heard Mr. Kirk say several times, are we putting a Band-Aid on it, or are we trying to fix it? And he said that since I was in school with him. I mean, I don't want to put a Band-Aid on these kids, and I know, you know, that's easy to do. I want to try to fix them and get them back in the real world. We have a lot of kids at the alternative school that come and say, hey, I like it over here. Because they don't have to mess with it. They don't have this kid bullying them. They don't have this kid always poking at them, doing this, that, and the other. They like it. And they're going to have better grades over there. They have one-on-one instruction. Your math scores are going to go up at the alternative school because Coach Dane's going to sit there and he's going to work with them one-on-one for as long as they want. You know? So you're going to have better grades than that. And I have a lot of kids say that. Well, that's great. That's fine. I love you. Stay here. But it's not functioning in the real world. They gotta be able to come to your classroom and do it. So anyway, that's my little spiel. Thank y'all, everybody, for having me. Thank y'all for letting me sit in your classes. You know, thank Coach Kirk again. I feel welcome. I haven't got to talk to all of you, but hopefully I will before I leave. I'll be here till next Thursday. But everybody's made me feel welcome. Several guys I've known through coaching and stuff like that. But just thanks for making me feel welcome.